What's going on, guys? Gonna do a quick SoFi update since we had a brutal minus 10% day. Up a little bit after hours here, but SoFi had a big sell-off as well as the rest of the market. Everything is pretty much red. I did say yesterday that I was not convinced that the pump we had wasn't just a dead cat bounce, mainly because we rejected that with a gap below, and that definitely played out today. If you look at SPX, I know it did recover towards the end of the day a bit, but then dumped more. So yeah, we dumped all the way down to like 67.07 or something like that, and then recovered a bit, and then end of day dump. So I was really not convinced by that fake pump, and that also just affected the overall stock market. That's why you see SoFi down as well. I do believe some news came out for SoFi, and we're going to check out the chart real quick. But let me hop into the Twitter news. All right, so this morning we saw a large put buyer out to April 17th, but that's not crazy, not even over $1 million. We are seeing a whale buy into SoFi November 14th calls, so next Friday expiration, and they're buying that on this dip as well. This guy reports that SoFi flags new risk tied to managing and adapting to evolving international regulations, warning that failure could hamper global remittance expansion and materially impact business and financials. So that could be another reason SoFi is down. We saw a whale come in after hours and scoop up some shares at $27.99. And then this is the same put that we talked about. So that's all I can really find on SoFi today. The chart did look bullish yesterday, but given the overall market sell-off, this thing just broke down. And then we are going to clean up this chart a little bit, but based on yesterday, we talked about this inside day. And I said if it were to break out and break above the previous day's high, then we could expect to trade likely up to all-time highs again. But we momentarily broke out and rejected, and then just absolutely kill candled down, broke the previous day's lows, and that's where you're seeing the day end today. So still on the daily trend line, but I think if we just zoomed out on the weekly, this would make things a lot clearer. All right, so obviously we are breaking it down a little bit on SoFi, testing this weekly trend line, and the monthly trend line is actually a little bit wider than this, but yeah, I do think that SoFi could come down and test previous month value area low, and this 24.90 to 26.56 I do believe is a good dip buy opportunity to scale in. Obviously, you would need to think about the overall market. If the overall market is selling off a lot, well then SoFi will likely just continue to bleed a little bit. But long term, I think this is a great buy heading into December, especially for that potential inclusion. But, you know, I'm glad I've remained patient on SoFi and haven't loaded the boat too much because I do want my price targets to hit for my load zone. People who chased up here as far as call options go, those are down brutally. So yeah, it's always about just being patient in this game and waiting for it to come to you. So if we were to break below this, your next levels are pretty much in between this 25 to 26.50 range, and I'll be scaling in. And if we break below that, well then if you zoom out, we are still in an uptrend, and we could come all the way down and test this uptrend of around 23.5 or year-to-date value area high. But overall, SoFi still is bullish. I'm really not worried about it. I think this is a dip buy opportunity at the moment. Zooming out even more to the 1 month chart, and you can see that trend line is a little bit wider than the weekly. Could come down and test this zone, which is previous month point of control around $26. So SoFi is going to be interesting. As far as the call flow goes, it does look like people are still loading $3 million in calls versus 1.7 million in puts. But I will say this is the highest put flow has been in a while. And they are targeting this month, not so much out to December, but obviously we had the large put flow out to April. But overall, yeah, the market was just selling off today. That's what we have for SoFi. I would expect a bit of a bounce tomorrow, just given where it's at. But who knows? It could just front run it and get us right to this trend line. So that's what we'll be watching on SoFi. Please like and subscribe and have a good one.